Hey, my name is Matt. I'm Matt Plays Spirit Island on TikTok, and I'm really excited to have with me the first interview that my channel's done with John Arnold, who also goes by MigrantP on the Spirit Island Discord. He is one of the devs for Handelabra's Spirit Island port, which is the Steam or iOS version of Spirit Island, which is one of my favorite ways to play. Really excited to have him on, especially right now because Nature's Incarnate is going to be coming to Spirit Island over Steam sometime this fall. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what it's like to develop Spirit Island and other board games for applications, to make the digital version of them, as well as what folks can expect about the upcoming expansion. So John, if you want to start by just quickly introducing yourself and how you got into the, digital board game space, so to speak.
Great. Yeah, happy to be here. I'm John Arnold, aka Migrant P on the internet. I've been working with Jay Handel at Handelabra since 2009. We actually started off doing just apps for iPhone at the time when the App Store was brand new and stars were in everybody's eyes. In 2013, we found a little game called Sentinels of the Multiverse at a booth next to us at a PAX, and actually it might have been 2011 actually. Anyways, it was a while back, and we ended up over a period of time getting the rights to do a version of that game digitally, and so that was our first digital board game and it went really well. And we cultivated a relationship with Greater Than Games and other companies, and we've been able to make great games like One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island. So it's been a great ride. We've been, over 10 years focused in on making digital board games, and wouldn't trade it for anything.
Very cool. So to talk a little bit more about Spirit Island specifically, this is now the fourth or fifth expansion that you all have ported. What are sort of the things that you've seen change in your dev process as you've sort of, you know, learned from past experiences? And also these expansions get like a little bit more complicated each time. How has that process changed?
Yeah, it's definitely been something that we've evolved over time. Both, the technologies that we're working with, we have worked with Unity as a game engine from the beginning. Like when we were first looking at Sentinels, we looked at different options for what to start with. That was back in the Unity 5.6 days, and we've kept with it, but kept modernizing things as well. I think overall the biggest changes are process wise. Like we actually started off from a good point to begin with. Like I was already, working in component style development and model view controller and other really good design patterns. We applied those design patterns to developing digital board games, which most games are programmed in a really slapdash kind of way, right? Everything's mixed together. There's no separation of concerns. But we started off with, we're going to build all the game logic in a separate library. It's going to have unit tests. It's going to have, that's the model and controller in one library, and the view is going to be Unity. Or maybe there's a text first, Sentinels had a text-based interface, a different view, the unit test, a different view. And so different ways to access that same logic that lets us test it really robustly. Building out the process for that over the years and improving QA, especially in the last couple of years, has been something of a focus of ours. And so, especially at Spirit Island, there's, the more content, there's more combinations of things that can happen. Even today, we were testing despicable theft and, other stuff going on. It's like, oh, actually, there's a bug with despicable theft and Ember Eye Behemoth. We have to figure out, like, there's so many different things. And, we can never get everything. But we have so many people playing that as soon as we release something, suddenly you have thousands of people playing, and so they run across all the combinations pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I mean, there's what, 29 spirits that are currently available on digital, plus, seven adversaries, 10 or so different scenarios,
Yeah,
all of the different boards. Those sort of very quickly multiply into a lot of different combinations. I'm sure you've
exactly. All the fear cards, event cards, all the power cards, blight cards, all these things, and some of them are like less, probably a lot less tested or accounted for because event cards that have a blighted so a blighted effect, those come up a lot less because often, the island's not blighted. Or Terror Level 3 effects,
Okay,
or
humble brag. You
yeah.
don't flip the blight card often. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are there any spirits or types of powers that you found particularly prone to create bugs or issues or a challenge for developing?
I would say the biggest challenges are there's once in a while there's a card that we have to build a whole new system or completely rework systems just for that card. So a good example of that is Cast Down in the Briny Deep and its counterpart Dream of the Untouched Land. We had to now you have to actually be able to destroy a board and deal with all the ramifications of that. It has a special animation, which is fun too.
Yeah.
Dream of the Untouched Land has to have a whole UI for how do you decide where the board goes, right? Just for that one card. But there's even other cards I'm trying to think of offhand, like that they just do something different. Like Fire and Flood has two thresholds. No other card had that, so we had to build support for that, right? Like anything where you take a system that's like well used and one card puts a wrinkle on it actually can have a lot of knock-on effects. Um,
So, of the
yeah.
upcoming Nature's Incarnate ones, were there any like that that were particularly difficult or required a little more care?
Yeah, specifically with powers, the Unearth the Beast of Wrathful Stone has a lot of weird gotchas going on. We're doing some special stuff for that we haven't shown on the stream yet. That's going to be a surprise for people too, because that's a card you kind of have to pull off, right? So it's going to be something that the first people to see it happen are going to get the little bonus.
Yeah.
But also, like just Incarna in general. So since Staggered Earth, we've had the concept of pieces counting as other pieces, right? Which has its own even more wrinkly thing with many minds where one piece counts as two pieces, or sorry, two pieces count as one piece. But with Incarnate, it's more weird because presence is everywhere in the game. There's so many things that use presence, that touch presence, that destroy presence, that replace it, or all these different things. And, when you're thinking about like, oh, the space of problems that can go wrong when, blight is counting as badlands, that's like a lot more limited than like something counts as presence, which is like almost everything in the game can interact with that. And so
it can
we had to
count
sort
as
of,
presence,
yeah,
but it doesn't have to, which is even
yeah,
weirder, I assume.
exactly. Yeah. Anytime it's optional, that's also annoying.
Um,
Yeah.
so you mentioned that some effects have like different special animations, like Cast Down, which is one of my favorites. I also love like the audio cues, like the little seagulls or the bells for Scotland in their Quest
Yeah.
to Explore. Uh, are there any that folks should look forward to in Nature Incarnate?
Yeah, we've got a few things, especially with Incarna. So actually, I can show you. If I flip my camera around, I prepared a little demo. I'm gonna flippy flip. All right. So actually, I need to hang on. I'm in the editor here. Maximize. It should be framed in on there. So you can see that's your Incarna. And actually, in the digital version, we have it standing up because in digital, we don't really care about which, you're always looking at the one side, and we can flip it around and make it look empowered whenever we want. So I've got 6 explorers here and a fully charged up Smash, Stomp, and Flatten. So let's see what happens when I use up power here.
I love that. Ooh, and it repeats, of course.
Yeah, just stomps them all. So obviously, if you had to choose the damage, I just set it up so that it would auto stomp. But you can, it just whenever it destroys a piece, it stomps it into the earth.
Very cool. And so that's one of the spirits that's going to be available right immediately from launch. It's doing a similar staggered launch to how Jagged Earth was done. Can you talk a little bit about
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, we had a really good response from that with Jagged Earth, where we realized to implement Jagged Earth fully was going to take like a year, 1 to 2 years, and so we didn't want people to like just be sitting on their hands waiting for it. And also, like, can you imagine how many bugs would be? The bug list would be insane for releasing all of that content all at once. And so, like what I talked about, like suddenly everyone's playing everything, it would just be nonsense. And so that staggered approach worked really well because people who wanted to jump on it and play, they could play. People who were like, I'm going to wait till it's all out, sure, you could do that. And if in another universe where we just release it all at once, it would be the same for you, right? So there's literally no downside.
Yeah.
And so with Nature Incarnate, we're doing the same thing and starting off with Ember-Eyed Behemoth and a couple aspects, Tactician for Thunder Speaker and Unconstrained for Sharp Fangs. Those are going to have brand new artwork. All the other 18 aspects are going to have brand new artwork from Nolan Nasser, which is, I've seen some people Discord today were saying like, that's what I want is the artwork. I don't care about anything else.
I want the spirits more than the art, but I
Yeah.
do love the art for the aspects. I felt like for Feather and Flame, the Finder and Downpour one that had a few different aspects in it, that art was all extremely well done. I think that was also Nolan Nasser, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the first release also has all of the other cards. So more than 30 cards, powers and events and fear and blight that just add more variety, in every game. So that's one thing we really noticed with Jagged Earth was like that first release, we also put in all the powers and all the events and everything that just like fleshes every game out versus like, you might not play with Starlight in your game. And so it's not like, you can pull out Jagged Earth and the main thing is all that stuff. The spirits are cool, but you can always play a game without a spirit. And it's not like you suddenly missed